Shalom from Beit and thank you for joining me in the study of Parashat Naso. In Parashat Naso we have many different topics, and I would like today to discuss with you Birkat Kohanim, the priestly blessing. How does exactly it work? A Kohen, a priest, comes along and gives us a blessing, and then we are blessed. So does he give the blessing from his own? He gets it from God, from Hashem. He gives it to us. How exactly does it work? So let's try to explore it together. Hashem says to Moshe and to Aharon, Daber el Aharon ve'el banav le'emor. Hashem says to Moshe, speak to Aaron and to his children. Le'emor, say to them, Ko tevarchu et bnei Israel amor lehem. This is the way that you're going to bestow blessings over the Jewish people. Emor lehem, tell them. And then we have the three verses regarding the priestly blessing. Yevarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. Yair Hashem panav elecha v'yichuneka. Hashem will bless you and will safeguard you. He will shine your face to you and he will give you shalom. He will give you peace and harmony. So let's try to understand how exactly does it work and what does it mean to us. So the first source that we're going to analyze together is Bereshit Rabbah. It's a midrash, a bit of an ancient midrash around the 5th or 6th century in the land of Israel. And it says the following. Meichan zachu Yisrael leBirkat Kohanim. What is the merit? What is the origin that the Jewish people merited the priestly blessing? Rabbi Yehuda veRabbi Nehemiah veRabbanan. So then we have a dispute among the rabbis. What is the origin, what is the source that gave us the merit to have the priestly blessing? Rabbi Yehuda Amar me'Avraham. It came from Avraham. Because it says there, Ko yeh zarecha. Hashem says to Avraham, Ko, meaning this is how, or this is how many your descendants will be, the word ko, and in the priestly blessing it says, ko tevarchu et bnei Israel. So you see that the first two letters, kaf, hey, is a blessing to Avraham, and that's the same blessing to us as the priestly blessing. So basically it comes from Avraham. Now, we need to understand that. What does it mean when it comes from Avraham? It means that Avraham's faith and determination and dedication to Hashem basically gave him the merit that he will have descendants, and those descendants will be us. And as a result, these descendants will be blessed, and how? With the priestly blessings. Rabbi Nehemiah Amar miYitzchak. Rabbi Nehemiah says, no, it comes really from Yitzchak, Shene'emar, as it says, Va'ani ve'anar, when Avram and Isaac were on their way to the Akedah, to the binding of Isaac, it says, Va'ani ve'anar, and I am and the youth, Nelcha ad ko. We will go until there. The word ko. There it says until there. Lefichach amar hamakom, ko tevachu et bnei Israel. And therefore, this is why Hashem, in a way, reciprocate as a result of the Akedah and gave us the priestly blessing. Now it's interesting. This is a totally different perspective. If we say that the priestly blessing, its origin is from Avraham, we are really talking about Avraham's journey, faith, and determination. With Yitzchak, we are talking about something else. We are talking about the Mesirut Nefesh, which means the willingness to give up your life for Hashem. And as a result, you get the priestly blessing. Ve'Rabbanan Amri miYaakov. And the rabbis, the sages, suggested that really the priestly blessing comes from Yaakov. Why? Shene'emar, Ko tomar levet Yaakov. This is what you will say to the house of Jacob. Ukenegdo. And corresponding to it is Ko tevachu et bnei Israel. Now, obviously, when you look at this midrash, you can look at that in a very superficial way and say, the rabbis basically took the word Ko and basically glued it to every other place that it says Ko. And it sounds very superficial. It seems to be that the rabbis are basically saying that the Avot, that Avram, Isaac, and Jacob, in their merit, they gave their descendants the priestly blessing. So we need to delve into this idea, the connection between the Avot, Avram, Isaac, and Jacob, and the priestly blessing, and to try to understand and to see, to explore if there are more connections and deeper connections there. As a side note, I will just say that you can hear many people, when the priestly blessing is being recited, after the first verse they will say, Bizchut Avraham, in the merit of Abraham. Second verse of the priestly blessing, they will say Bizchut Yitzchak, in the merit of Yitzchak. And the third verse of the Birkat Kohanim of the priestly blessing, they will say Bizchut Yaakov, in the merit of Yaakov, which basically it's a culmination of this midrash. That instead of saying, oh, it's only because of Abraham, only because of Isaac or Jacob, they basically bring it together and say this entire priestly blessing is because of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So, I would like to add one more dimension. When we speak about that the Birkat Kohanim, that the priestly blessing, is come as a result of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, it means something very interesting. The priestly blessing is a blessing that Hashem gives to the Kohanim to give to us, and we are blessed, and then it brings us back to the Kohanim and to Hashem, which means this blessing that is being given to us, and in the land of Israel we do it every day, it basically gives us the understanding that Hashem wants to bless us every day. What is a blessing? A blessing is a connection. Someone who cares about you gives you a blessing. He cares about you. Which means Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov created that connection through faith, through Mesirut Nefesh, giving up their lives, Yitzchak, and Yaakov through Galut, through exile, through the idea that there is a covenant, and all these three ideas are come together in Birkat Kohanim. But we are going to elaborate on it a little bit later. In Midrash Tanchuma, which is a little bit of a later Midrash, says the following. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says, Mitchila ani הייתי מברך בריותיי. At the beginning, I will be the one to bless my creatures, to bless everyone that I created. How do we know that? If you go to Sefer Bereshit, to the book of Genesis, you see that when Hashem created the world, He blessed everything that He created, the animals, the fish, and obviously human beings. However, says the Midrash, מכאן ואילך, from now on, הרי הברכות מסורות לכם, ותהיו מברכים את בני ישראל. From now on, says Hashem to the Kohanim, you are the one to give the blessing to the Jewish people. לפיכך, therefore, אמר הקדוש ברוך הוא למשה, therefore Hashem says to Moshe, שיזהיר לאהרון ולבניו שיהיו מברכים את ישראל. So he says to Moshe, warn Aaron and his children to recite the blessing for the Jewish people. מניין, how do we know that? ממה שקראו, דבר אל אהרון ואל בניו, כה תברכו. From the fact that Hashem says to Moshe to tell Aaron and his children to recite that priestly blessing to the Jewish people, we know that they are now become in charge, which is very interesting. In a way now, this Midrash says, until now, Hashem was the one to bless His creatures. Now, it was given to the Kohanim, which means the Kohanim becomes now the emissaries, God's emissaries, to carry on and to give this blessing. כה תברכו, זה שאמר הכתוב, השקיפה ממעון קודשך מן השמיים וברך את עמך. We have a pasuk, a verse that says, God, please look upon us from heaven and bless your Jewish people. אמרה כנסת ישראל לפני הקדוש ברוך הוא. So, עם ישראל says to Hashem, ריבונו של עולם, לכהנים אתה אומר שיברכו אותנו? אין לנו צריכים אלא לברכתך, ולהיותנו מתברכין מפיך, שנאמר, השקיפה ממעון קודשך. So when the Jewish people heard that there is going to be a priestly blessing, they said, we don't want it. We want you, God. We want you directly to give us a blessing, not to go through the Kohanim. אמר להם הקדוש ברוך הוא. So Hashem responded to the Jewish people, and he says to them, אף על פי שאמרתי לכהנים שיהיו מברכים אתכם, even though I told the Kohanim to bless you, אני עומד עמהם ומברך אתכם. I will stand with them and I will recite the blessing for you. Which is unbelievable. At the beginning, it was only Hashem gives a blessing. Now it's going through the Kohanim, but Hashem is with the Kohanim. And therefore, לפיכך, הכהנים פורסים את כפיהם, לומר שהקדוש ברוך הוא עומד אחרינו. This is why the Kohanim, when they give the blessing, they open up their fingers, and in a way Hashem goes through their fingers and give us a blessing. וכן הוא אומר, הנה זה עומד אחר כותלינו, משגיח מן החלונות, מציץ מן החרקים. There is a verse in Shir Hashirim, in the Song of Songs, that Hashem is like, in a way, stands behind the wall, and he looks from the windows, from the crack of the window, he looks at us. מה בין אצבעות של כהנים, מציץ מן החרקים בשעה שפושטין כפיהן, לכך נאמר כה תברכו את בני ישראל. This is an incredible midrash. It basically says that Hashem chose the Kohanim to recite the blessings for us, but it doesn't mean that Hashem left. It means that Hashem now stands with the Kohanim and gives us the blessing. Now, there is like two ideas here. A, this is one of the reasons that you should not look at the Kohanim, at the priests, when they recite the blessing, because Hashem, in a way, reveals himself there, and you can't look at Hashem through their fingers. B, Hashem, in a way, is telling us, I can obviously continue to give you a blessing directly, but I want this chosen tribe, the Kohanim, to convey this blessing, to bestow that blessing with me. I'm interested in partnering with you. It's not going to be just top down, I'm giving you a blessing to you, all of you here. I'm going to go to do it through other people. So how does it work? That was our initial question. Hashem says to the Kohanim, you have now the power to recite the blessing. This power comes from me. And it's not just that I gave you the power and I empowered you and then I'm leaving. I will come with you. Ko tevachu. This is the way you're going to recite the blessing while I'm there. So now the priestly blessing, I think, receives an enriched dimension. It's not only Birkat Kohanim, the priestly blessing. It's Birkat Kohanim veHashem. The priests are reciting the blessing that Hashem tells them, and He's with them there. The Bavli, the Babylonian Talmud in Chulin, says the following. רבי ישמעאל אומר, למדנו ברכה לישראל מפי כהנים. לכהנים עצמם לא למדנו. כשהוא אומר, ואני אברכם, הווה אומר, כהנים מברכים לישראל, והקדוש ברוך הוא מברך לכהנים. Rabbi Ishmael said something very interesting. He says, okay, the priests are reciting a blessing, and they give us a blessing, but who give the Kohanim a blessing? This is a very fair question. I give you a blessing, but who is giving me a blessing? Says Rabbi Ishmael, Hashem. It goes like that. Hashem gives the Kohanim the right to give us a blessing. They bless us. And then Hashem bless the Kohanim. So they are blessed by God, and we are blessed by the Kohanim. That's according to Rabbi Ishmael. Rabbi Akiva אומר, למדנו ברכה לישראל מפי כהנים. So we learned that the Kohanim give us a blessing. מפי גבורה לא למדנו. But how do we know that we are blessed by God? כשהוא אומר, ואני אברכם, הווה אומר, כהנים מברכים לישראל, והקדוש ברוך הוא מסכים על ידם. So Rabbi Akiva's opinion is, the Kohanim recite the blessing to us, and Hashem says, good, I'll confirm this blessing. So obviously, and that's very similar to what we said in the previous Midrash. But now the Gemara is asking a very good question. El Rabbi Akiva, bracha לכהנים מנהלה. So how do we know that the Kohanim themselves are being blessed? Which means Hashem says to the Kohanim to give us the blessing. And Hashem confirms that. But who is giving a blessing to the Kohanim? According to Rabbi Ishmael, God gives them the blessing. But according to Rabbi Akiva, who gives them a blessing? אמר רב נחמן בר יצחק, מעברך מברכך. Because when Hashem spoke to Abraham in Bereshit, Hashem promised Abraham, ועברך מברכך. When you bless others, you will be blessed. And those who bless you will be blessed. Which means, the Kohanim were empowered by God to give us a blessing. And when they do it, they themselves immediately are being blessed by God. It's a very interesting and delicate relationship. The Kohanim needs to find this inner strength and generosity of the heart to give us the blessing. And then, because they blessed us, they will be blessed. And it comes from Abraham. ומאי מסייע כהני? דמוקילה לברכת כהנים במקום דברכה דישראל. And then the Gemara says, so if that's true, how are the Kohanim going to basically are doing here? So he says, because we are establishing the fact that Birkat Kohanim is bimkom bracha d'Israel. Like they are like God's emissaries, so they are doing God's job. So what do we have here? We have a machloket tanaim, we have a dispute between Rabbi Ishmael and Rabbi Akiva. Regarding what? Regarding the following question. How does it work? How does it work towards us? And how does it work for the Kohanim? The fact that we have such a discussion, it means what? It means that Rabbi Ishmael and Rabbi Akiva looks at Birkat Kohanim definitely as something essential to the relationship between God and us. But then there is an additional question, which is, okay, the Kohanim are doing their job. They give us a blessing. But what about them? How are they going to be blessed? And here we have an interesting dispute. Rabbi Ishmael says they will be blessed by God. Rabbi Akiva says they will be blessed by us. Us, the non-Kohanim, by them giving us a blessing, they will be blessed. And I think that there is something very deep in this dispute. According to Rabbi Ishmael, you look at the priests, more as like God emissaries. They are a little bit aloof from us, and therefore they are blessed directly, like it used to be, from God Himself. Rabbi Akiva says something a little different. He says, the Kohanim are blessed because they are our emissaries. When they bless us, they will be blessed. And this is two different approaches towards the Kohanim, which the Gemara itself, in a different place, really try to understand. Are Kohanim, the priest, shluchei didan or shluchei rachmana? Which means, are they our God emissaries or they are our emissaries? The Kohanim has a very unique position. On one hand, they were chosen, they are very unique, they serve in the temple, little bit separate from us. At the same time, they are fully dependent on us for anything that they need. Land, food, anything that sustains them. So in a way, God created this hybrid system that on one hand they are close to Him, on the other hand they are very close to us. And the priestly blessing in a way is the instrument that brings these two dimensions together. And it's being reflected with all these disputes between Rabbi Ishmael and Rabbi Akiva, the Midrash Tanchuma, all the Midrashim that we studied before. Where exactly is the origin of the priestly blessing? And how can we really fulfill it? Or how can we really understand it when they give us a blessing? Says Rashi on this Gemara in Chulin that we just mentioned, במקום ברכה לישראל אצל ברכת ישראל דהכי עדיפה, דמשמע שמתברכים הן עם השאר. Says Rashi is adding another component to Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says not only that the Kohanim are being blessed through us, it's better that they are part of us, which means the Kohanim give us the blessing. Rabbi Ishmael says, okay, God gives them a blessing. Rabbi Akiva says, no, we, Am Yisrael, just the non-Kohanim, through us, they are being blessed. Says Rabbi Akiva, it's even better. Because they are part of us. They are part of Am Yisrael. We all have unique people, unique groups, but they need to understand that their uniqueness is really empowered by us, by Am Yisrael, to be part of the collective, to be part of the nation. This is, according to Rabbi Akiva, the ultimate understanding of Birkat Kohanim. Rashbam, who is Rashi's grandson, talks about Birkat Kohanim and he suggests the following. לא תברכו מברכת פיכם כאדם שאומר תבואתה לראש פלוני כך וכך. He says, when Hashem told Aaron and his children to recite the blessing to Am Yisrael, he says to them, Ko tevarchu emor lahem. It's very specific. It's a designated blessing. You can't change it. And he says, Hashem told them, I'm not allowing you to say whatever you want. You need to say this specific paragraph. אלא אליי תתפללו שאברכם אני. Your prayer is, Kohanim, you need to pray to me that I will pray Am Yisrael, that I will give a blessing for Am Yisrael. כמו שמפרש, יברכך השם The priests say, Hashem will bless you. ואני אשמע קולכם, כאשר תאמרו ואעברכם לישראל. And I will listen to you, and I will give the blessing to the Jewish people. כמו שמפרש, ושמו את שמי על בני ישראל, and they will place my name on עם ישראל, כשיברכו כהנים לישראל בשמי, ולא בשמם. The Kohanim are basically just an instrument. They are the instrument to ask God to give a blessing to עם ישראל, through them. אני אברכם לישראל, כמו שהתפללו הכהנים ואומרים יברכך השם. So it's not the Kohanim. It's not that the priests are giving us the blessing. They recite the words of the blessings that Hashem gave them, and in a way they pray to God, please bless Am Israel through these 3 verses that you gave us. Again, Rashbam, in a way probably follow the idea of Rabbi Akiva. It's all about Am Israel. The Kohanim are just an instrument. And we will talk about the idea of instrument in a few minutes. The Or HaChaim, Reb Chaim ben Attar, says, אמר פעם שנייה לאמור. If you remember the verse, Hashem says to Moshe, דבר אל אהרון ואל בניו לאמור, tell them, and then אמור להם, tell them. Why twice? says the Or HaChaim, אולי כי חש הכתוב לומר שאינו אל הרשות. תלמוד לומר לאמור כי מצוות עשה היא לאמור. So the first reason for the idea of the redundancy of the twice to say to them comes to teach them that it's not reshut. It's not like on a volunteer basis. If the Kohanim would like to recite the blessing, they will, and if not, they don't. No. They are obligated. They are obligated on a daily basis to recite that blessing. עוד ירצה שלא לאהרון ובניו שיהיו אז בנמצא לבד ומצווה אלא גם לדורות. It also comes to teach us that it was not a commandment only for Aaron and his children, but for generations to come. So there are 2 ideas here. A, the idea that that's an obligation. That's a commitment. The Kohen needs to know that he must recite the blessing. Unless there are other circumstances that he cannot, he must do it. B, it's for generations to come. So now, Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch elaborates on this idea, and he says, אין זו רשות. It's not a non-obligatory commandment, אלא זו חובה המוטלת על בני אהרון לברך את בני ישראל. There is an obligation for the Kohanim to recite the blessing for the Jewish people. אין הכהן מברך את העם מפני שהוא דורש טובתו. It's not as a result of the generosity of the heart of the priest, אלא ברכת כהנים היא חלק מעבודתם במקדש. Part of their service in the temple, it's not only to bring sacrifices and to sprinkle the blood, but it's also to recite the priestly blessing. כי הכתוב מגדיר כך את עבודת הכהונה. This is the way that the verse, that the narrative defines the service, the priestly service. לעמוד לפני השם לשרתו ולברך בשמו. To stand in front of God to serve him and to recite a blessing in his name. וכן עוד כי בם בחר השם אלוקיך לשרתו, Hashem chose them from all among עם ישראל לשרתו to serve him, ולברך בשם השם, and to recite a blessing in the name of God. נמצא שברכת כהנים היא חלק מהשירות, והיא קשורה עמו בקשר הדוק, which means the priestly blessing is attached to the priestly service in the temple. הכהן עומד ומשרת לפני השם, the priest stands and serve God, ומברך בשליחותו ובשמו. משום כך אין הכהנים מברכים אלא בעבודה עם סיום הקרבת קורבן ציבור. This is also the reason why the Kohanim will recite the blessing after the service. And by the way, in davening, we call the Kohanim when? Retzeh. That's in the middle of Tfilat Shmona Esrei, the silent prayer. Retzeh is what we call avodah. That's the service. Therefore, we finish the service and then they recite the blessing. So, what is the meaning of it? What Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch did, he first defined it as part of the service. So now, what does it mean? Says Rav Hirsch, הואיל וברכת כהנים היא חלק מן השירות והעבודה, as a result, or due to the fact that the priestly blessing is part of the service, יש לה גם האופי של כל מעשי העבודה. It has the same nature, the same DNA of the priestly service in the temple. משמעותה, the meaning of the priestly blessing is what? היא בתוכנה שניתן לה אובייקטיבית. והכהן המשרת האומר את הברכה איננו אלא כלי שהוזמן לכך. באמצעותו יבואו לידי ביטוי המעשים שם והמילים כאן. Which means, like in the service itself, when the Kohen brings a sacrifice, it's not that he is the one to make the sacrifice. He is just an instrument. He is a tool. He is the connection in a way that helps us to connect to God. But he is not God. He is not the main purpose of the service. He is just helping us. The same thing with the priestly blessing. They are not doing that from their generosity of their heart. They are not doing that as because they just love us. They are doing that as part of an obligation, a commitment. The bracha, and here I'm going to talk about the bracha, is an instrument to connect us to God. And here is where the Hebrew is so meaningful. The word bracha is spelled Bet, Resh, Chaf, Hey. It comes from the word berech, ni. The berech helps connect the lower parts of our body and our upper part of our body, which allow us to walk, to continue our journey. When someone gives you bracha, he's basically connecting the upper world and the lower world, basically creating this link between these two realms. Birkat Kohanim, and this is why the Kohanim were chosen. The Kohanim are, in a way, themselves are berech. They are, in a way, God's emissaries, and they are our emissaries. They are exactly this link between God and us. Mediators. They are not here to replace God, God forbid. They are not here to be themselves like some kind of a divine entity or a deity, but rather they are just there to help us connect to Hashem. And therefore, they need to understand that it's part of their avodah. Same way that they treat a korban, a sacrifice, same way that they treat any other thing in the Beit HaMikdash, the priestly blessing is part of their service, part of their commitment. Rav Soloveitchik says Maimonides indicates that the Kohanim, the priest, hold their fingers closed until beginning of the blessing and then open them. The fingers represent man's possessiveness. Hence the commandment not to close one's hand to the destitute. During the priestly blessing, these fingers of the hand are spread apart, the open fingers serving as a conduit for blessing. Rav Soloveitchik basically takes it in a very metaphoric way. We spoke about the idea that the Kohanim basically open their fingers. According to the Midrash, it's in order to allow God's divine presence to go through those fingers and to give us a blessing. According to Rav Soloveitchik, there is perhaps another metaphor. When the Torah warns us to give tzedakah, to give charity to the destitute, we says, "Lo tikpotz et yadcha me'achicha evyon." You should not close your hand and not give to your brother who is destitute. However, patoach tiftach et yadcha le'achicha le'aniecha o le'evyoncha asher be'artzecha. You should open up your hand and give tzedakah. The idea of spreading the fingers and allowing this plenty to come, it shows generosity. It shows the idea that we try to take care of everyone who is in need. The priestly blessing and the commandment for them to open up their fingers basically shows that they are an instrument for that tremendous blessing that Hashem has to give us. The Sfat Emet concludes this idea by saying, ברכת כהנים כה תברכו את בני ישראל, פירוש שבני ישראל הם כלים להמשיך את הברכה על ידיהם כתכתיב ושמו את שמי. Meaning, it's not only that the Kohanim are an instrument or a vessel to carry on the blessing, but we, Am Yisrael, are also an instrument, a vessel, to carry on the blessing to us and to everyone else. De'ita, as it says, ein kli machzik bracha ela shalom. The only vessel that can maintain peace, that can maintain a blessing, is peace. But what is peace? It's not just shalom, but it's shlemut, it's wholesomeness. אינו בנמצא רק שבבני ישראל שנקראו השולמית. The Jewish people are called in Song of Songs Shulamit. What is Shulamit? במדרש, ומה שמסיימים לה שלום בכל יום. We are being blessed by the Birkat Kohanim every day, and the last word in the priestly blessing is shalom. Does not mean just peace. Shalom in Hebrew is shlemut, wholesomeness, harmony, full understanding of each other. ולכן הם יכולים לקבל הברכה, והקדוש ברוך הוא נותן ברכתו תמיד מן השמיים כשיש כלי לקבל. Because we have this ability to create this harmony, so Hashem gives us a blessing every day. So now let's try to bring all those sources together. So how does it work? So this question really have two answers. First, the Kohanim are an instrument to give us a blessing. According to one opinion, they were empowered by doing so, and God gives them later on a blessing. According to the other opinion, they are being blessed by us, and Hashem stands with them and gives us a blessing. The second idea was the idea that the Kohanim are not giving that blessing on their own. It's not part of a volunteer job. It's a commitment. It's part of the service. It's part of this idea that the Kohanim were chosen to be designated for a holy service, but they never should lose sight from the reason for that. The reason for that is that we have a dedicated group that on a daily basis are serving God, but their aim, their goal, their purpose is to bring us and to elevate us to the same level until we will all be Mamlechet Kohanim v'Goy Kadosh. We will be all a priestly nation. Does not mean that we all going to be Kohanim, but we will be able to connect to God on a daily basis. And then the last idea is that it works because we are a kli. We become a vessel. And this is, I think, something very important for all of us. We need to always prepare ourselves to be a kli, to be an instrument, to be a vessel that can maintain the blessing, that we will have enough, quote-unquote, space in us to be able to maintain the blessings that God gives us, but also to be able to give it to others. So when the Kohanim gives us a blessing, it's not that we got the blessing and we are blessed and then we can go home. We are blessed with a purpose. We are blessed with a meaning that now, after you are blessed, you need to bless others. And to bless others does not mean just to put my hands and to give you a blessing. It's to do things, to create things that are a blessing for everyone. So now, when we hear the priestly blessing, we don't need only just to receive the blessing, but we also need to receive the responsibility that comes with it. ושמו את שמי על בני ישראל, and they should put and place my name on Am Yisrael, to understand that we have God's name with us, and therefore, ואני אברכם. Thank you.